I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery.
Today, Catherine, Princess of Wales, shared a very positive update on her battle with cancer. The UK royal says that she is finished up a course. She's finished her course of chemo and will return to light public engagements.
Kate Middleton has recently opened up about a private battle with cancer that kept her out of the public eye for months.
Kate, the Princess of Wales, is undergoing treatment for cancer, and while we don't know what type of cancer, we do know that anyone diagnosed, they need support.
Known for being an Anglican faithful, she has decided to lean on her faith during this challenging time. But an unexpected meeting between Kate and Pope Francis in a historic church has not only shocked people, but has also sparked many discussions worldwide. What really happened in the meeting between the Pope and Kate Middleton? Join us as we reveal what Pope Francis did with Kate Middleton that shocked everyone. Kate Middleton is diagnosed with cancer. Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, has always been admired for her elegance, composure, and her dedication to royal duties. But as last year drew to a close, fans and royal watchers noticed something unusual. Kate, who is typically a well-known figure at public events, was no longer seen as frequently as before in the spotlight. And after a while, she wasn't even seen in the public eye anymore. It was as if she was missing in action. Her absence brought about concern and wild speculations among the public and the media. Many wondered why someone so active and committed to her role would suddenly become so private. As the months passed, whispers grew louder, and people couldn't help but try to understand what exactly was going wrong. There were rumors of health issues, family struggles, and even strained relations within the royal family, but no official statement was made, leaving people to speculate, make guesses, spread rumors, and worry. But what exactly was going on? Where was Kate Middleton? Keep watching to find out. Some people believed that Kate was simply taking time off for personal reasons, but others feared that something more serious was happening. The entire mystery surrounding her absence casted a shadow over the usually transparent royal household. Rumors continued to spread, and it reached its peak when the royal family released its official Christmas portrait of last year, and netizens were able to point out that Kate was photoshopped into the picture.
Kate Middleton and Prince William's annual Christmas card appears to suffer a Photoshop fail. The Prince and Princess of Wales's Christmas portrait with their 3 children appears to have suffered a Photoshop fail.
To stop the raging rumors, in March of this year, Kate finally broke her silence and shared the truth with the world. In a heartfelt statement, she revealed that she had been battling cancer. Her diagnosis had come as a shock, not only to her but also to her family and close friends. She explained that she and her doctors found out about the cancer after a planned abdominal surgery that she underwent. She was then asked to undergo chemotherapy to prevent the cancer from recurring. She also talked about the need to focus on her health and undergo treatment, which was why she had chosen to step away from her public duties. Her openness was both heartbreaking and inspiring, as it gave people a glimpse into the personal challenges faced by someone who is often seen as a symbol of strength. Kate described the initial fear and uncertainty she felt when she received her diagnosis. Like anyone facing such news, she was overwhelmed, but she also spoke about the incredible support she received from her family, including her husband, Prince William, and her children. She also shared how her faith helped her navigate this difficult time. Kate's story deeply touched the hearts of many people who have faced or are facing similar battles. Her willingness to open up about her experience brought comfort to those who felt they were not alone. Throughout her treatment, Kate remained determined to stay positive. Although she could not attend public events, she stayed involved in her charitable work behind the scenes. She worked closely with organizations supporting cancer research and patient care, using her platform to raise awareness about the importance of early detection and treatment.
Duchess Kate Middleton channels her inner Princess Diana with a visit to sick children in the hospital. Here she is meeting 9-year-old Ava.
Her dedication to making a difference, even while dealing with her own health challenges, inspired countless individuals around the world. As news of her battle spread, messages of love and support poured in from across the globe. People admired her courage and strength, and her story became a symbol of hope for others. Kate's journey also highlighted the importance of breaking the stigma around discussing serious illnesses. Her openness encouraged more people to share their own experiences and seek help when needed. Even with the issues she faced, Kate's strength shone through. Her family remained her greatest source of strength, with Prince William often seen speaking about the importance of supporting loved ones during tough times. The royal household also rallied around her, ensuring that she had the privacy and care she needed to focus on her recovery. Despite being an Anglican faithful, Kate had an unexpected encounter with Pope Francis, the leader of the Catholic Church. What exactly went down in the meeting between the Pope and Kate Middleton? Stay tuned to find out. Pope Francis meets with Kate Middleton. Kate Middleton had some underlying abdomen issues which were meant to be operated upon by a group of specialist doctors who have in the past operated on Pope Francis. During the surgery, the doctors discovered something unexpected. They found early-stage cancer. The diagnosis was a shock, turning what was supposed to be a routine medical checkup into the beginning of a much more challenging journey. Kate immediately began treatment with the team of specialists in London. Her days became filled with medical appointments and consultations, leaving little time for anything else. The treatments were exhausting, and the emotional toll weighed heavily on her.
The image was released with a dramatic update on her medical condition. I am making good progress, but as anyone going through chemotherapy will know, there are good days and bad days.
One evening, as she sat alone in her room thinking of her next steps, she received an unexpected message. Pope Francis, who had learned of her condition, had invited her to meet him. The invitation surprised Kate, but she felt drawn to the opportunity for spiritual comfort. On the day of the meeting, the sun shone brightly over the city, offering a sense of warmth and peace, which was in contrast with the heaviness in her heart. Kate arrived at a small, historic church where she was meant to meet with the Pope. She wore a simple navy blue dress and a cream scarf. Her face, though tired from treatment, carried an expression of quiet strength. Inside the church, the air was cool and calm. The high ceilings and stained glass cast colorful patterns on the stone floor. Kate found a seat near the back, folding her hands and bowing her head in silent prayer. She was deep in thought when she heard soft footsteps approaching. She looked up to see Pope Francis, his simple white robe catching the light. The Pope greeted her warmly, his kind smile immediately putting her at ease. He invited her to walk with him, leading her to the altar where they lit a candle together. As the flame flickered, Kate whispered a prayer, her voice trembling with emotion. The Pope placed a comforting hand on her shoulder, and she felt a small wave of calm wash over her. After a few moments of silence, he led her to a private room at the back of the church. The space was small but welcoming, with a modest desk and shelves filled with old books. They sat across from each other, and the Pope encouraged Kate to share her thoughts. At first, her words were slow and seemingly calculated, but soon she got more comfortable. She spoke about the fear and uncertainty she felt after her diagnosis. She admitted to struggling with the idea of being vulnerable, of letting the world see her in a weakened state. Her role as a public figure had always been one of strength and grace, and she felt she was failing in some way by being unwell. The Pope listened patiently, nodding as she spoke. He reminded her that strength comes not from always being perfect, but from facing challenges with courage. His words touched her deeply, and for the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to cry openly. After some time, the Pope suggested they step outside. He led her through a small wooden door at the side of the church, revealing a hidden garden. The garden was quiet and serene, with a fountain in the center and flowers blooming in neat rows. They walked slowly along the cobblestone path, the sound of trickling water filling the air. Kate stopped near the fountain, watching the sunlight dance on the rippling surface. The Pope pointed out how water, though soft and gentle, could shape even the hardest stone over time. His words struck a chord with her, and she stood there silently, enjoying the moment. The Pope handed her a small jar of holy water, dipping his fingers into it and anointing her forehead. The cool touch brought a sense of relief, and she closed her eyes, letting the peaceful atmosphere soothe her spirit. They returned to the church, where the Pope led her to a side chapel rarely opened to visitors. Inside was a beautiful painting of Mary holding the infant Jesus. Candles flickered softly, casting a warm glow over the room. Kate felt an overwhelming sense of calm as she knelt before the image, her hands clasped tightly in prayer. Before she left, the Pope gave her a small wooden rosary. Its beads, worn smooth from years of use, felt solid in her hands. He encouraged her to carry it as a reminder of hope and faith during her journey. As Kate left the church, the weight on her shoulders felt lighter. The meeting with Pope Francis had given her a sense of clarity and renewed strength. While her battle was far from over, she felt more prepared to face the road ahead, carrying with her the memory of the quiet garden, the gentle water, and the comforting presence of the Pope. After the unplanned meeting with the Pope, Kate was strengthened to continue her battle. Now Kate is faring better and is back to the spotlight. But how is she really faring now? Let's find out. How is Kate Middleton faring now? Kate Middleton has returned to royal duties after successfully undergoing cancer treatment earlier this year.
Pope Francis welcomed President Obama to the Vatican. He has another high-profile visitor, Britain's Queen Elizabeth. Mark Phillips is in Vatican City, where the two leaders met a short time ago.
I'd like to present to you the Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro Parolin. Your Majesty, thank you.
The royal family of Britain has always shown respect for global leaders who inspire change, and Pope Francis is no exception. Known for his humility and compassion, the Pope recently went through an unexpected transformation. This transformation touched hearts around the world and left the royal family deeply moved. What could Pope Francis have done to create such an emotional response? Join us as we reveal the unexpected transformation that left the royal family in tears. The connection between the royal family of Britain and Pope Francis. Years before the recent transformation, Pope Francis, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Argentina, became the head of the Catholic Church and sovereign of the Vatican City State in 2013. As the first pope from the Americas, his election marked an important moment in the Church's history.
You have to vote, and one must choose the lesser of two evils. Who is the lesser of two evils? That lady or that gentleman? I don't know.
Pope Francis is widely known for his humility and focus on serving the marginalized. He has also worked tirelessly to bring reforms to the Catholic Church. He emphasizes themes like compassion, inclusivity, and addressing social and environmental justice issues. As the spiritual leader of over 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide, Pope Francis has a mission to unite people through faith while addressing pressing global challenges. His papacy has been defined by a commitment to building bridges across communities and fostering interfaith dialogue. Over the years, the royal family of Britain has always had a cordial relationship with the papacy and every pope that ascends to being the head of the Holy See. But how is Pope Francis connected to the royal family of Britain? And how has the relationship between them blossomed over the years since his ascension as pope? Keep watching to find out. The British royal family has its roots in Anglicanism, which is a central part of their identity. As members of the Church of England, they uphold a faith that has shaped Britain's culture and government for centuries. This connection highlights the royal family's commitment to their faith and their responsibility to uphold the traditions of the Anglican Church. Despite their Anglican faith, the royal family has maintained a respectful and friendly relationship with the Catholic Church. This is significant given the historical tensions between the two churches, particularly following England's break from Rome during Henry VIII's reign in the 16th century. Over time, these strained relations have evolved into a spirit of mutual respect and understanding. In the 20th century, efforts to build bridges between the British monarchy and the Catholic Church became more visible.
Pope Francis reflected on family crises during an audience with members of the Retrouvailles Association, which is dedicated to helping couples in crisis. Those present thanked the Pope for his presence and attention.
Queen Elizabeth II made history through her meetings with several popes. She met Pope John XXIII in 1961, marking an important moment in Anglican Catholic relations. Her visit to Pope John Paul II in 1980 further strengthened these ties, with both leaders discussing global issues such as peace and poverty. She later met Pope Benedict XVI in 2010 during his visit to the UK where they shared a mutual appreciation for faith's role in addressing social challenges. Since his ascension in 2013, Pope Francis has also engaged with the British monarchy, continuing this tradition of dialogue. Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip visited Pope Francis at the Vatican in 2014. The meeting reflected a shared concern for addressing global issues like poverty and environmental stewardship. The Queen presented Pope Francis with a basket of traditional British food, symbolizing goodwill and cultural exchange. Ever since his ascension, King Charles III, known for his dedication to interfaith dialogue and environmental causes, has continued to build this relationship with the Papacy of Rome. In 2017, as Prince of Wales, he visited the Vatican and met Pope Francis. Their conversation focused on critical global concerns, such as climate change and promoting harmony between different faiths. Both leaders emphasized the importance of working together to create a more just and sustainable world. The Catholic Church and the royal family share many values, including a commitment to service, compassion, and addressing inequality.
As Christmas approaches, my heart goes out to all Christians who are being persecuted on account of their faith.
Pope Francis's messages of inclusivity and care for the weak amongst us align closely with the royal family's charitable efforts, such as King Charles III's work through the Prince's Trust. This shared sense of responsibility has strengthened their bond over the years, but in recent times, Pope Francis has started to change in ways that have been noticed by the royal family of Britain. What exactly are these unexpected transformations? Stay tuned to find out. The unexpected transformations of Pope Francis. Pope Francis has always been seen as a progressive and compassionate leader of the Catholic Church, but his recent actions have sparked widespread conversation, with many seeing it as an unexpected transformation in how he leads the Church to engage with global issues. Pope Francis recently made headlines by calling for more inclusivity and understanding toward the Pride community. Traditionally, the Church has held conservative views on this matter, but Pope Francis's words represent a significant shift in how the Church approaches these issues. During an interview late this year, he said that the Church must welcome everyone, regardless of their queer orientation. He even gave his blessings on same-gender marriage civil unions, and also stressed on the importance of compassion and acceptance, saying, "Who are we to judge? God's love is for all his children." This message resonated with many people, especially those who support human rights. The Pope also urged Catholic leaders to think about how they could better support marginalized groups in their communities. His words showed that the Church is taking steps to become more open and welcoming.
The future of the Catholic Church by saying the Church is in need of repair. He emphasized the need to make it a place of welcome for everyone.
This action is part of Pope Francis's larger mission to fight inequality and bring people together. It shows his commitment to helping those who are often left out or forgotten. The Pope's approach has been compared to the values of the British royal family. Like the Pope, King Charles III has always supported social harmony and religious tolerance. King Charles is known for his work in promoting peace and unity. The shared goals of the Pope and the royal family highlight a common vision for a world where everyone is respected. Pope Francis has also boldly spoken out on the Israel-Gaza conflict. For years, the Church has mostly stayed on the sidelines of such issues, but Pope Francis took a more active role this time. He called for an immediate ceasefire and encouraged both sides to engage in talks. In his speech, he urged world leaders to work together to end the violence. He also reached out to leaders of other religions, emphasizing the need for cooperation. This action by the Pope surprised many people. It marked a major change in how the Vatican handles global conflicts. It showed that Pope Francis is deeply committed to peace and protecting human dignity. His efforts to bring peace to the region align with the royal family's focus on helping people and promoting global unity. Pope Francis has also taken strong steps to address climate change. This year, he launched a global plan for Catholic institutions to use renewable energy and reduce their carbon emissions. He said that caring for the planet is not just a political or scientific issue, but a moral responsibility for all believers. This initiative makes environmental protection a central part of the Church's mission. The Pope's work on climate change has drawn comparisons to King Charles III, who has long been an advocate for sustainability. King Charles has been actively promoting environmental causes and supporting efforts to combat climate change. Both leaders share a deep commitment to preserving the Earth for future generations. Their work strengthens the bond between the Vatican and the British monarchy. The Pope's call for inclusivity, his involvement in global conflicts, and his leadership in fighting climate change all represent a new direction for the Church. The British royal family is one of those who have publicly supported the Pope's initiatives.
In a small Scottish church, where the late Queen used to worship, the nation's longest reigning monarch has been remembered.
King Charles III's commitment to unity, peace, and environmental protection mirrors the Pope's goals. Together, their shared vision inspires hope for a more inclusive and compassionate world. Pope Francis's leadership shows a deep understanding of the challenges facing humanity today. By addressing issues like inequality, peace, and climate change, he is redefining the Church's role in the modern world. His efforts encourage people to come together, regardless of their differences, to build a better future for all. These recent actions and statements by Pope Francis are seen as unexpected transformations because they challenge traditional norms and push the Church toward a more inclusive, proactive, and compassionate approach. Despite how welcoming these actions by Pope Francis are, it has not been without criticisms and controversies, but there are some people who have publicly supported the Pope and the royal family of Britain is one. The implications and the royal family reactions to these unexpected transformations. Pope Francis has received both support and criticism for speaking out on important global issues. Many people admire his boldness in addressing topics that were once considered too controversial for the Church to discuss. His words and actions have started discussions worldwide, drawing attention to matters like pride, community rights, climate change, and the need for peace in conflict zones. While many applaud his efforts, others believe he is moving too far from traditional Church teachings. One group that has strongly supported Pope Francis is the British royal family. Known for their focus on inclusivity, community service, and social justice, they share similar values with the Pope. King Charles III, in particular, has praised efforts to create a more inclusive world. The royal family's support for Pope Francis highlights their support in addressing global challenges like poverty, equality, and environmental protection.
The harm we are doing to the planet is no longer limited to damages to the climate, water, and soil, but now it threatens life itself on Earth. In the face of this, it is not enough to repeat statements of principle that make us feel good, because among other things, we are also interested in the environment.
Religious communities around the world have reacted differently to the Pope's statements. Many Catholics see his leadership as a sign of progress and a way to make the Church more relevant in today's world. They believe his openness to the pro-community inclusion and his strong stance on climate action reflect the Church's role in addressing the needs of the modern world. These supporters argue that Pope Francis is following Jesus' teachings by prioritizing love, compassion, and care for all people, regardless of their background or identity. But some conservative Catholics and religious leaders have criticized his approach. They argue that his views on the pride community rights and other issues go against traditional Church teachings. Some feel that the Pope's actions are creating division within the Church, as not everyone agrees with his progressive stance. These critics worry that his words might lead to confusion about the Church's core beliefs and values. Outside the Church, secular communities have also shown mixed reactions. Many human rights groups have praised Pope Francis for using his platform to address global issues. They see his support as a powerful endorsement that can inspire change. On the other hand, some political leaders and organizations have been skeptical. They question whether the Pope's involvement in social and political matters oversteps the Church's boundaries. Even with the criticism, Pope Francis has remained firm in his beliefs. He continues to emphasize the importance of inclusivity, care for the planet, and peace building. His focus on these issues has brought people from different backgrounds together, creating a sense of unity. This has made his leadership resonate not just with Catholics, but also with people of other faiths, and even those who are not religious. Pope Francis's message has a universal appeal because it connects with the changes happening in society. The royal family, for example, has been working to modernize their role by supporting causes like equality and sustainability. This shared vision between the Vatican and the royal family increases the impact of their efforts worldwide. It shows how influential leaders can work together to address the challenges that the world is facing today. Pope Francis being vocal about important global issues shows his willingness to speak out on topics like inclusion, climate change, and peace. All these have made him look more than just a powerful figure, but also as a human with kindness in the heart. As the reality of her husband's infidelity sank in, Diana felt herself becoming more and more disconnected from him.
Do you think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
She was horrified and heartbroken, and the discovery was the beginning of the end of their relationship. By the early 1980s, as Charles and Diana's marriage faltered, Charles found solace in Camilla. Their relationship evolved into a full-blown affair, which became one of the worst-kept secrets within royal circles. For Diana, discovering the truth about Charles and Camilla was devastating. She once famously said, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." The public, however, was largely unaware of the full extent of the affair at the time. Diana continued to put on a brave face, carrying out her royal duties with grace and charm. Yet the cracks in her marriage with Charles were becoming increasingly visible. Camilla, though rarely in the public eye, remained a looming presence in their relationship. As the years went on, the tension between Diana, Charles, and Camilla only deepened, and the public became more aware. From the moment she married into the British royal family, Lady Diana Spencer seemed to embody the image of a modern-day princess. The life that awaited Diana was far from the fairy tale that people imagined. Her journey as the Princess of Wales was full of emotional turmoil, personal struggles, and public scrutiny, which overshadowed even her humanitarian efforts and the joy of motherhood. Diana entered her marriage with high hopes, but the reality of royal life hit hard. Almost immediately, she found herself struggling to adapt to the rigid structure of the royal family. But the heart of Diana's troubles was the distant and cold relationship with her new husband, Prince Charles. Though they appeared happy in public, behind closed doors, their marriage was something else. And you know the most painful part of it all? Diana's heart had been scarred by the divorce of her parents when she was just a young girl. She had hoped that her own marriage would be a refuge from the pain of her childhood, a union filled with love, laughter, and joy. She dreamed of a partnership that would be the opposite of her parents' failed relationship. But fate had other plans. As she stood by Charles, she felt the sting of betrayal, the ache of disappointment, and the crushing weight of unfulfilled dreams.
It is announced from Buckingham Palace that with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate. Their Royal Highnesses have no plans to divorce, and their constitutional positions are unaffected.
The little girl who had once hoped for a love that would last a lifetime was now a woman facing the harsh reality of a love that had never truly been hers to begin with. Despite her public image as a glamorous princess, Diana often felt isolated and unloved. She famously remarked in an interview, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." The emotional toll of her troubled marriage began to manifest in physical ways. Diana struggled with bulimia, an eating disorder that haunted her for much of her life as a royal. The pressures of royal life, coupled with her feelings of inadequacy and the constant media scrutiny of her appearance, contributed to her battle with food. Diana later spoke openly about her bulimia, admitting that it was a way of coping with the immense emotional strain she was under. That was not even all. In addition to bulimia, Diana faced periods of severe depression. She felt trapped in the royal family, with few people to confide in. Her mental health struggles were largely kept hidden from the public for many years, but privately, Diana sought help, meeting with therapists and counselors to navigate her personal challenges. Despite her efforts to get better, she often felt unsupported by the royal family. Her public image as a radiant, smiling princess only served to deepen the contrast with the inner pain she was enduring. If there was one thing that Diana hoped to find true joy, it was motherhood. Diana gave birth to her first son, Prince William, followed by Prince Harry. Becoming a mother gave her life a new purpose, and she was fiercely protective of her sons. Diana broke royal tradition in many ways, from choosing her own maternity hospital to insisting on being a mother and nanny to her children, rather than relying solely on nannies. She was often seen playing with her boys in public, taking them to amusement parks to give them as much of a normal childhood as possible. Despite the joy her sons brought her, Diana's struggles within her marriage did not disappear. The birth of her children couldn't mend the cracks in her relationship with Charles, and the emotional distance between them only grew.
They think this has been a disastrous journey for them. They believe that a lot of their problems, the unpopularity of the monarchy in this country, now stems from her.
Despite the restrictions and traditions of royal duty, Diana carved out her own path, becoming a global humanitarian icon. Her compassion for those in need and her willingness to engage with the most marginalized members of society set her apart from other royals. One of Diana's most impactful efforts was her work with AIDS patients. At a time when the stigma surrounding the disease was rampant, Diana challenged public perceptions by visiting AIDS patients in hospitals, holding their hands, and demonstrating that the illness could not be spread through casual contact.